So we are live. Hi everyone. Welcome back to our Scrappy Sunday live chats with myself, Leanie from Independence Crochet, and Mariette from the Boervrou. Mariette?
Hi everyone. Welcome back to the channel and welcome back to our Scrappy Sunday chat. Today is the 31st of July, obviously, and yeah, we're very excited to be here. As you can see, we have another guest. So, oh my goodness, sorry about that. So for everybody that doesn't know me, my name is Mariette, also known as the Boervrou. And yeah, we are here to talk about all the things Scrappy. We got another guest and she will introduce herself. Over to you, Gertruida.
Thank you, Mariette. So I'm Gertruida from Ietsie Klein. I am most known for my stitch markers, but I do have a lot of other crafts that I get involved in, including knitting and crochet, which is where the stitch marker love comes from. And yeah, that's a little blurb of me.
Okay, thank you very much. Mariette, maybe you'd like to go through your chat quickly before we get into the nitty-gritties.
Sure, we can do that. I see Tanya is here. She says, waiting patiently with the F1 on the TV, test cowl in hand and earphones in my ears. And Suzette, Gaiba van Sail, hi, waiting for the Scrappy Sunday, busy with my daughter's Let's Play sweater design by Hilda. And then we've got Karina. Hello, turning the heel on another sock for summer sock camp. Hope everyone is warm, have enough yarn and knitting plan for the week. I think we all might have enough yarn. I don't know if we can knit all the things because we've only got 2 hands, but we'll try. And then Edith is also here. Hello, Edith. Claudia from the Sunbird Crochet podcast. Hello there. And then we've got Yaline. Hello, Yaline. She says, hello, Leanie, Mariette, and Gertruida. So happy for another Scrappy Sunday chat. So yes, thank you guys for joining.
Okay, on my side, hi Vera. Vera Mayberg is also watching. She says hi to everyone.
Great, hi Vera. I see Ursula also joined us. She says, hi everyone, busy on my test knit. Oh yes, that is beautiful as well. How's it going with the test knit? Is it going better this time? Oh, that is all from my side. I don't know if we should start with finished objects. Well, finished object.
You are more than welcome to brag.
Alrighty. So let me now just see quickly. This was my first sock that I made a while ago, and then I finished its friend. So this is basically my not so scrappy socks, I will say, because it's all done in the same colorway, but I held it double to get this marling effect. Yes, I've used 3.25 millimeter needles for this, and I've done it on 9-inch circulars, except for starting with the toe because they were toe up. So I just did the toe on magic loop, and I did the rest of it, all of it in 9-inch circulars, including the heel flap and gusset. And if memory serves me right, I think one sock weighed almost 70 grams, I think. Or was it now 66 or something? I'm not exactly sure, but it's on my Ravelry project page. So yes, but that is my only finished object that I have. But
it's beautiful.
Thank you. I'm sure they're going to be very nice and warm.
I must still come for lessons for that 9-inch heel flap and gusset stories of yours.
Any comments on your side? Nothing yet.
Yeah, Bev is also saying hi. Hi, Bev. Thanks for joining.
Hi, Bev.
Okay. Yeah,
on my side,
I don't have any FOs.
Oh, you don't have any FOs. Okay. I see Hannah has also joined us. Hello, Hannah. So she says hello to you all. And then Edith says, Leanie, I love that you're wearing the Ietsie Klein stitch marker earrings. She's already spotted that.
We are super scrappy today in anything and everything we are doing.
Yeah, I mean, you've got the beautiful mismatched earrings. I've got some colorful things on today, so we are scrappy today. Okay, all right. So I don't know, where are we starting for whips?
I think let's find out from Gertruida. She is super busy. I almost don't want to interrupt. I'm sorry.
I didn't bring my 5 little whippies of thingies for the hexagons because they're small and I don't like them anymore. I'm putting them in the naughty corner, as Edith said. So my Scrappy Granny Square strip, that it's literally just a strip and it's been a strip for a few months. And then my first attempt, which is also a similar idea, except I worked this in a block. However, my mistake was there's some Naughty Habit in here, and there's some Malabrigo in here, and there's some another UK dyer in here, as well as some apples. And I have since realized I cannot handle the feeling of apple. So yeah, I'm not going to continue working on this. I do like the colors though. So I'm thinking of maybe incorporating it into like a wall hanging or a wall weaving kind of situation. But yeah, that'll come.
Great stuff. I just want to, sorry guys. There we go. I'm getting better at this. Can I go next, Mariette?
Of course, go for it.
And while I get my stuff, Beth says your socks are funky.
Oh, thanks, Beth. It's my first time trying double knit socks. I think I will definitely do that again.
Super fast, I'm guessing.
Yes, it does go very, very fast. And it's a nice texture actually to work with. I'm not sure how they'll wear in boots, but I'll definitely try them out and come back to you guys on that.
Okay, so I'm still on this very boring thing. It got one block, as in one block this entire month. But then I've been trying to make a water bottle cover or a warm water bottle cover with also leftover sock yarn, and I got this far and I'm running out of ideas and plans and nothing seems to want to work. So say hi and say goodbye because I'm ripping this out as soon as we are done. Yes, I'm frogging it. I'm gonna do top down. I've made up my mind. I just wanted to have something to show that I didn't do nothing this month. But yeah, sorry.
I have to put my hand up.
Yes.
just a suggestion. Just as you cut in a heel, why don't you pick up the stitches at the bottom and just cut the cast on off and do ribbing and buttons or something. It's just an idea. Just an idea before you frog it all. But it's your cover, but it's beautiful. So if you do that again, keep it in that fashion of stripes. I love it.
Yeah, no, we'll see. We'll see what I come up with. At least I tried.
Well, you've got the stitch counts right for around the bottle and everything, so it's not a waste. It's definitely something that you've learned. So, all right, on my side, I see here Ursula of OM Granny Square is here. Hi, Ursula. She says, crocheting and lurking today, glad to catch your live. Edith says, you can use that block as a kitty blanket, Gertruida.
They've got enough.
It's good enough. It's like, here, I start something and the dog takes it over.
You know?
Yaleen says, I love your socks, Mariette. Thank you, Yaleen. Ursula greets Yaleen. Adela, hi Adela. Adela says hi, everyone. Yes. Right, so I guess then it's me for once.
Sorry, before you start, Mariette. Bev
Sure.
says she's actually currently addicted to DK Socks. So Bev, are you also making some? I'm assuming. And then are you using a pattern or are you also just going vanilla style? So we'll see if and when she answers yeah.
Sure. Okay. Let me just, I only brought one whip to share because I didn't touch the Tunisian blanket or the leftover blanket because I didn't really finish up that much. So I don't really have leftovers to go through the process of going to the honeycomb and going to the other one. So I have just added 2 and a little bit stripes to this chevron blanket. I was helped out by friends that this is chevrons and not ripples. So this is my chevron blanket. And I'm busy with a third stripe of 2 rounds. And then after that, I'll be adding in some more. But this one is not that far. I think about 30 centimeters to go. And then I can do a border. So it's coming. It's coming. Very quickly, actually. So yes, that's basically all scrappy things that I've worked on for this month. And the socks, obviously.
Okay. So Mariette.
I've got some comments here quickly before we proceed. Let me just see. Tanya says, yes, that sounds like a good idea. Pretty colors. Yaleen says, hi, Ursula, Leanie. I love that what you are busy with. I'm sure you will be happy with your second attempt. I would not have frogged it. You are brave. Okay, people greeting each other. And then Mincy is also here from Naughty Habit. And she says, hello, everyone. Hi, Mincy. And then Adela says, I'm sure you can call it a ripple. Lucy of Attic 24 calls hers the neat ripple. Yeah, I'm sure that is. I was told that if the tops are more steep, I want to say, it is a chevron, and if it's more rounded, because this one is quite pointy, but I don't mind as long as it's it's a blanket and it's there. I don't really mind what it's called, but I like to be correct. If somebody says to me that this is the correct thing, I like to try that out.
Sorry to interrupt, Mariette, but you know, like the one right behind you.
Yes.
I mean, that's definitely a chevron.
Yes. Okay, so this one right behind me actually has just 1 stitch that goes into 3 stitches to make the points, whereas mine is doing 2 stitches with 2 knit 2 together. Knit 2 together. You see, I'm knitting too much. Crochet 2 together. So yeah, but never mind. So that is my blanket, and I like ripples and chevrons, as you can see clearly.
Okay, so let's do the last scrappy. What do we call this?
Yeah, let's call it Scrappy Project Inspiration segment.
Yes, segment. That's the word. And then we can get to the lots of fun stuff.
Yes. So after last month's Scrappy Sunday Chat, I got some messages from people that said that they like the suggestions for patterns and so forth, because they also don't know what to do with scrappy yarns and what would be great patterns that they didn't think of. So we put together 4 pattern suggestions for scrappy projects that you can have a look at. We'll show you some pictures as well. Just give us a second.
Which one do you want to do first, Mariette?
Doesn't matter. You can throw up any one. Put all of them here.
With you.
Okay. All right. So that is the Scrappy Stripe. It is designed by Jamie Hoffman, and this pattern is a free pattern available on Ravelry. We have included the links down below for you. So it is knit with 3.5 and 4 millimeter needles, and it uses about 1,000 to 1,200 meters of yarn. It says in the description that it is an oversized pullover, so it's just got one size. But as I said, it's a free pattern, and I think maybe you'll be able to. I'm actually reading the wrong thing here. Sorry, people. Let me just see. Scrappy Stripe. Okay, now this one is by Mona Kay. It is a free pattern as far as I know. And yeah, I've got the same instructions here for both. But anyway, so it's a beautiful pattern where you can use a lot of your, like a one color with stripes for your scraps. And as I said, it is on Ravelry, and we did include a link down below. You can go to the next one, Leanie.
Okay.
Thank you. Okay, Scrappy Marl. Let me just get to that. All right, so I'm rather not going to pronounce the surname because I might butcher it. But this hat is also a free pattern on Ravelry, and it uses fingering yarns held together to get that mold effect. And the pattern info says that it uses about 270 to 320 meters of yarn. So yeah, that's a very nice thing, I think, to use up little scraps and leftovers, especially if you look at the crown, that little teeny bits of scraps that you have left to mold it in with something else would make a beautiful hat. You can continue to the next one. And this is your favorite, Leanie.
Yes.
Oh, goody. All right, so this one is the Beekeepers Quilt blanket by Tiny Owl Knits. It's also made in fingering weight yarn, and it uses 3.5 millimeter needles. It's available on Ravelry. It is a paid for pattern, but I'm sure there is a lot of other ones that I've also seen, not by the same designer, but that has squares, which is not this honeycomb effect. And yeah, I think it will be a very, very nice warm blanket because obviously it is stuffed with some polyfill. And I was thinking that maybe you can use scraps as well to stuff it, like yarny scraps, all the cut-offs that you don't use. I'm sure that will also work in there for stuffing. So yes, let's see the last one. All right, so this is the one by Jamie Hoffman, the Scrappy V. I've seen that there is quite a few different ones. There's one with long sleeves as well. But yeah, I just picked this one. And as I said, it's a DK weight yarn. I think it's a DK weight yarn. We've also included all of the links, as I said, to these 4 projects. So you're welcome to go give it a look-see and see if there's anything that you like. I actually am starting a little scrappy collection of patterns on Ravelry, and where I've added all of these in so that you can find them easily if you want to go check them out. But yes, that is the Scrappy project inspirations. Let me just see quickly who I've got here. Claudia says, I like the stripes. I think I would use them for the body and then make the sleeves unicolored. Well, you can do that too. That sounds like a lot of fun. If you've got a little bit of more scraps, then it'll be nice to do them around the body. Let me see. Oh, Ursula, yeah, Ursula says she'll be right back. And that is all that I've got from my side.
Okay, thanks. Everything is quiet here on my side as well. So Gertruida has been sitting there very quiet, waiting for us to stop babbling. And she actually prepared a little something for us to get us a little bit into the main attraction for today. So I'm going to start playing that now, if that's fine with you guys.
Yeah, sure.
Cool. Let's do it.
Hello everybody, the first ever Ietsie Klein studio tour where I'm holding the camera and you can see the real truth of things. I have tied it up a little bit, but not too much. So over here we're starting at my favorite spot, which is my yarn cupboard. It's mostly cottons and cotton bamboo mixes in those two. The leftovers over there with a few full skeins that isn't Knotty Habit, and then my Knotty Habit fandom over there. At the bottom is a few bits and bobs that I use for Ietsie Klein, mostly hardware kind of stuff. And then my Scrappy Projects that I'll send a photo of is over there. Then at the top is my Swift. That basket is mostly roving. And then here is where the Ietsie Klein magic happens. So I work on a tile, as you can see, with my pasta machine, and then some leftovers from all my thingies that I make. So whenever I make stuff, I don't use up all the clay. I'm left with this kind of stuff, which is called the skeleton. So this is not something that I throw away. I mix it up and I do other things with it so that I end up using all my clay. So typically what I make is marble mixes. So it's this type of look that I get out of it. But there is some other techniques that I do as well. And then all my liquid clays, all my little tools that I use, and then more tools that I use, and my frequently used cutters, because over here is all my cutters, and then my clay that I use. At the top is the clay that's opened, at the bottom is the clay that's not opened. And then this side, we have my workbench. So there's my sewing machine, the Dremel. So that is my secret sauce for making such nice, smooth, neatly finished stitch markers. And then my, what do you call it? The winding thing. It's falling out of my head. I'm sorry. And then all of my weaving equipment and a bit of spinning equipment. And then an extension table that I got so that I can make bigger bags better. And then here is at the top bear making supplies, something I haven't done in quite a while, but I do make bears. And then some roving and some other bits and bobs for embroidery and cross stitch supplies. And in here, show a small peek, the fabric that I use for the bags. Speaking of bags, here all the pattern pieces are hanging. But it doesn't end at my studio, unfortunately, because if you turn, here's my looms. So this is my recently acquired 4-shaft loom that I cleaned up. She's a very old lady. And yeah, I'm very excited to work with her, as well as my trusty rigid heddle loom that I've had for about 1.5 years now. And just to show you guys a sneak peek. So here is they're called even weave. And then here is I was learning how to do the treadling thing with the 4-shaft loom, so I was just following the same pattern and getting the same effect. And then I figured out, oh, I need to do something different. So now I actually am getting the diamonds that I'm supposed to be getting. And that's it. I hope you guys enjoyed.
Oh, thanks for that, Gertruida. It's awesome.
It's a pleasure. During the video, management has joined us to make sure that I do my interview correctly.
Supervising.
So cute.
Okay. I believe, Mariette, you actually have the first question for us.
Let me just pull it up here quickly. I've been sitting crocheting and not paying too much attention to what I should do.
Focus.
Okay. Yes. I will just start with something that I'm sure all have thought about. And we were wondering about this, and Gertruida said she knows the difference, so she will help us out. Because I've actually Googled this and couldn't get a proper answer. Because everybody always talks about progress keepers and stitch markers. And I've always wondered, what is the difference? So I asked Gertruida, and she knows, and she will share that with us.
So conceptually, there isn't much difference. You can use a stitch marker as a progress keeper. It's where you put it that makes the difference in that case. In terms of my business language, though, there is a big difference, where a stitch marker is usually something that is 2 centimeters or under in diameter, which means that it's small enough to be easily worked with within your work. So on the edges where you're busy working, that it doesn't bother you. It's not so big that it's heavy either. And then a progress keeper is typically something that's larger, usually about 5 centimeters or so, but sometimes even bigger, which is used mostly to track your progress. So your podcasters that track in between episodes how far you get, they're perfect for that, because they're sitting typically lower down in your work, where it doesn't bother you so much while you're working at the upper edges.
Okay, so just for reference, I've actually brought my cutter with, because we were talking about this, and I said to Gertruida, so actually my cutter would be more of a progress keeper. So for reference, there's a size difference between what would be then a progress keeper size and then what would be a stitch marker size, more or less.
Yeah, that's perfect.
So most of us only have stitch markers and not really that much progress keepers.
Which is perfectly fine. You can use them as progress keepers. That's what I said.
Yes. But just technically.
Technically, in terms of business language.
Oh, great. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Pleasure.
So, Gertruida, from my side, would you mind telling us how did Ietsie Klein start? How did we get to where we are today, where everybody knows Gertruida from her stitch markers?
So I've always been a very crafty person. When I was a kid, I used to sew a lot with my mom's sewing machine that was plugged out. Had to hand roll it to sew with it, because it's too dangerous to do it with a foot pedal, with a kid at least. But yeah, so that has sparked a profound love for always being crafty, and I've always done something new every now and again. As you can see in my studio, there's a lot of disciplines in there. And then September 2020 is when Ietsie Klein officially started. And I started with earrings originally, because with the whole lockdown vibes, the earring business have boomed with polymer clay, because it's very light and it's easy to wear in your ears, even when it's bigger pieces. But I soon learned that I don't wear earrings myself. And as a result, I don't know what to make for other people that do like wearing earrings. I ended up making these massive dangly businesses that was absolutely beautiful pieces of art, but too big. So Tani Mincy from Naughty Habit messaged me, and she's like, you make these beautiful things. Should we just make it smaller? It can work as a stitch marker. And I was absolutely on board, and I made a bunch of sets for Naughty Habit. So some of you guys might have them, those purple and turquoise and white and pink little flower cutouts. They were the OG sets. And since then, it's just been booming.
Cool. Okay. So on that, sorry, Mariette, I'm just gonna, because my next question actually leads on to what Gertruida said just now, like you have quite a few disciplines. Can you can tell us, because I'm trying to count them in my head and I get lost.
So in terms of fiber arts, I spin and I weave. I also knit and crochet. And I've dabbled a little bit in yarn dyeing, but I've learned it's not for me. I don't really like it a lot. I also sew quite a lot, but there's different disciplines of sewing. So I do clothes as well as bears and toys kind of stuff, as well as the bags. And then I also embroider and cross stitch, and hardanger is a new one, something that Tannie Diana from the Spinner and have taught me. And then the polymer clay stuff, as most people probably know and love. And yeah, there was other stuff we thought about. Oh, a long time ago, I used to paint with acrylic paint as well, but not anymore. I've fallen out of love with it because I make too much abstract stuff and then it doesn't make sense and it annoys me.
So. And
oh,
are you
the miniature houses? I build miniature houses.
okay? And then are you okay with just doing a little bit, or is there something where if you have to choose only one, you will be okay with that? And then the next part of my question is actually, but are you okay with not doing one of your crafts for a long period of time? You know, how do you prioritize your crafting?
It's a very difficult ongoing battle because I do what I call following the dopamine, where the next bright, exciting idea, that's what I do. And I usually don't say it too loudly, but I do have a lot of whips that languish for years. And then my housekeeper finds them and she's like, Adela, what about this one? I'm like, Virginia, I'll do it eventually. And then she bullies me to do things. So my first colorwork sweater took me a whole 2.5 years to finish. But I did finish it eventually. And yeah, so to that extent, I don't think I'll ever be okay with not doing any of them except the painting. I'm okay with not doing the painting anymore. But what does tend to happen is that one tends to take a lot of focus with what I get inspired by from time to time. So at the moment, I'm very interested in knitting and as well as weaving. So I would like to try wall hangings. I haven't done wall hangings before. It's a bit more of a non-pattern kind of way of weaving, which intimidates me a bit, but I've got my friend Annegret that's going to help me. And yeah, but in terms of prioritization, I suck with it. That's the true honest answer.
It doesn't really matter if it takes a long time to finish something. I actually have a granny square blanket. Okay, it is, for reference, king size. So I've got 3 blocks hanging on both sides of the king size bed over it. And it took me 8 years to finish. And I actually started it and sewed the blocks together by hand. And everybody that's ever watched and talked to me know I hate sewing things together by hand. So I had about 4 rows across the bed sewed together by hands. And then I learned you can crochet this stuff together. And I unraveled all of that stitching, hand stitching, and I started again and I added another round and crocheted them all together with little strips in between. But that took me 8 years to finish. So
Sure,
you work on something when it works.
Yeah.
Mariette, I see there's quite a few comments on the chat.
Yes, I see that too. Tanya said, I collect all my scrappy ends for my friend who makes pillows for the SPCA. So we use it to stuff the blankets. So yes, that answers that question. And then Yaleen says, love the tour, Gertruida. You are an amazing crafter and friend. And then Hannah said, oh, are there different names of the stitch markers and progress keepers? Is it to open or not? So I guess when they are not opening, it will be more stitch markers as well, classified as stitch markers, isn't it? Because you then slide them onto your knitting needles.
So it depends on the attachment. You get crochet stitch markers, and then you get knitting stitch markers. Crochet stitch markers can be used for knitting, but knitting stitch markers cannot be used for crochet because knitting ones are typically closed entirely. And I used to use lobster claws for my crochet ones. It's like a hook kind of thing that has a little lever that you press, but you've got to press it to stay open. And I found it very difficult to use personally. And then I got a batch of them that was terrible and the pins kept breaking. Yeah, that kind of type. And so then I changed over to the huggy hoop type, which is more of a circle that you bend to open and then it stays open. Exactly like that.
Take out my earring, yeah.
And then you can close it when you're ready to close it. So I find that very entertaining because I don't split my yarn to get my stitch markers in anymore, and it's much easier to use. And they don't tend to, the lobster claws also, sometimes the pin isn't 100% against that top little loopy, and then it catches the yarn a little bit from time to time. Whereas the circle ones, they close all the way and they don't catch yarn, they don't make a mess of things. The added benefit being they're very nice and big, whereas the lobster claws, they tend to be a little bit narrow at the top. So the round ones you can totally use for knitting as well, even for chunkier kind of needles like 5, 6, 7 millimeters. I haven't tried them up to 8 and above because I don't own those kind of needles. So if anybody wants to try them, let me know. But yeah, that's all about the attachments, and that's all that determines whether it's knitting or crochet markers.
Okay, great information. Thank you.
Yeah, I know for crochet, sorry, I like to use this when I crochet.
Yes.
Yeah, but it's probably just a matter of preference.
Absolutely.
Yes,
There's no such thing as a perfect marker, just a marker that works for you.
Yes.
Exactly. Yes. I've got one more comment here. Lynette says, wow, appreciate your honesty. We all have this challenge. I think nobody's counting. Love what you do and do what you love.
That's my strategy is.
Okay.
Right. So what is our next question here? Sure, let me see. I wanted to ask, what is your favorite markers to make?
Ooh, my favorite ones is using techniques I haven't used this far. That's the short answer. I really do like surface techniques, since my journey comes from earrings, and earrings tend to make use a lot of surface techniques rather than molded 3D kind of spaces. It does give me the opportunity to get more markers out of my slab that I create, because you press out however big you end up making your clay piece with your surface technique. Whereas with 3D ones, you have to mold each one individually and spend time with each one individually, which takes up a lot of time. And if you were to price them according to each other, the 3D ones will be nearly impossible to afford. Whereas the flatter, more surface technique ones, it's more affordable. And I would like to supply beautiful things at an affordable price rather than spending a lot of time and then losing time that way, sort of, if that makes sense.
Yes. Okay, great. Thank you. Okay.
Gertruida, what is your daytime job?
I am a
You're not
senior software engineer with Intellect, currently on a Anglo project surrounding geophysics data.
cool. Nice, nice. And then, so how do you manage? Because it almost looked like Ietsie Klein, just the stitch markers alone is like a full-time job. It almost looks like that to me. I'm not an expert. So how do you do all of it?
It's very difficult. So when Ietsie Klein was still small, it was easy because then when you finish your work, you can jump into Ietsie Klein and do stuff. Whereas now I'm trying to keep my Ietsie Klein work to the weekday evenings, and then weekends I spend doing my own type of projects and my own work that I want to be interested in, because I felt like I'm only ever working because I'm working at work, and then as soon as I'm off work, I do Ietsie Klein work. And it started affected my mental state quite a bit. And having the separation does help. It is a journey to find that balance. It's something that I'm constantly trying to fine tune.
Okay.
But I must say also having fantastic customers helps a lot because I've been blessed. I haven't had a single Karen come to me. Apologies to somebody that's called Karen. It's a meme. I mean, like, ladies, that's full of nonsense.
Oh. All right. Let me see. So just before we ask our last, well, I don't know, the last question on my side, maybe we can ask people what they're working on just for fun while they're watching.
I see Adela is saying she's busy with the last round on the stash busting Scrappy Mandala for Scrappy Sunday.
Oh, great. Yes.
Cool.
And I see Erin has also joined us. Tanya says my biggest needles, Tunisian crochet and knitting. The biggest one she has is a 20 millimeter.
Wow, what do you make with those? You have to like probably work with roving or something.
What size do you use? I know I'm not an expert, but my mother-in-law, when she was doing broomstick lace crochet work, she used these thick knitting needles.
Mm.
So I don't know if it's maybe something like that. And also these t-shirt yarns that everybody was doing the rugs.
Mm.
That's probably another reason
why. I use the 8 millimeter though. The 8 millimeter works fine for those. Although the ones I had.
Okay.
I haven't used that yet, so I don't know.
And I don't know where is mine that I use for the t-shirt yarn. I can't even remember.
I know that you can get the broomstick lace proper stick from Tannie Mincy at Not to Have It. That works a lot better than a stick because then you can get your needle into the groove a little bit better.
Okay.
Mm.
Oh, speaking of, hello Mincy. She says she's busy taking pictures for the website. So I believe Mincy is doing anything and everything now to get stuff onto the website before she goes to America. So good luck, Mincy. And Vera is saying she's busy with a Scrappy corner-to-corner blanket. Those always turns out nicely, yes.
Mm.
All right, so before I read the rest of the comments on my side, I've got one more question for you, Gertruida. So what is your process when you make stitch markers? What's the steps that you follow? And when you put these little kits together, where do you start and how do you do that?
I usually work with the batch process, something that I've learned from quilting, where you do the same task one after each other, because picking up a tool and putting down a tool, you waste time effectively. So I first make whatever it is that I'm making, then I cut out the shapes. And if I'm adding a surface embellishment, that will then go on after I cut out the shapes, because otherwise you hurt the surface embellishments a little bit. Then once that's done, they get transferred onto a baking tray that goes into the oven to get baked. Once I've come back, I sand them and drill them. So my Dremel that I called my secret sauce. Usually when you cut out a shape, the back edge of it is very, very sharp. And if you like run your finger over it, it's not nice to touch. So I use a felt wheel on my Dremel to buff off that edge, and also make sure that if there's like a double color, like the markers that was in the last sock boxes, that it's a nice clean edge, because if you cut down and there's like two colors, they tend to drag over each other. So then I buff off that dragging of the colors, and then drill the holes and then assemble all together. And if I'm making markers for the shop, I don't necessarily use up all the markers that I end up making. And then what happens is that they end up into these little bowls. This one's a bit full because it's got a few markers that I actually need to finish assembling for the shop. So then it ends up in here, and there's quite a lot of markers that have friends. Some of them don't. Here's a leftover cutter from a previous box. Some markers that I've not even finished and showed anybody. I think Edith has bought a set of this just because she's an insider. So then it ends up in here. All of the extra bippies as well, because I don't count them while I'm cutting them out. I only count them when I'm making the sets. So the extra bippies also end up in here. And then I make sets from that, so that as I'm working and colors line up and match, because I'm typically working in similar color palettes, then I put them together and like, oh, this looks like a nice set. And then it's a brand new, unique set made with old markers.
Okay, great. That the sets are beautiful. I mean, the one that I have here, I really love as well, because it is the same colors, but it's not exactly the same. So it's nice. It gives you a little bit of a variety.
Yes.
So I'm looking at the chat here, and
I've seen we got a lot of comments. You can read
Yeah.
some if you like.
so Karina's saying it's not scrappy, but a textured sock that is doing my head in. Shame, Karina, what's happening? And then Linef is saying 5 pairs of sock on magic loop at the moment. Goodness. 5 at once. Oh, goodness. Edith is saying she started with a boxy sweater in merino lace purchased from Naughty Habit yesterday. I want pictures.
Me too.
Yes. Goodness, why is this not coming down? I'm struggling to scroll here. And then Yaleen says she's busy with her Scrappy flower motif blanket. And also watching Formula One. I think it's so important to look after your mental health. And I'm so glad to hear you're taking it slow, Gertruida. That's from Yalinki. And Sunbird Crochet is saying, the biggest hook I've got is a 25 millimeters, and I use it for a blanket, which turned out to be so heavy that it was a bit too much.
Wow.
Goodness. How do you, okay. Gertruida, here's a question for you. How do you fixate your markers so that you can drill the hole? That's a good question.
So I have a drill press that I use. So it ensures that my drill bit is going down 100% 90 degrees, because something else that drives me nuts is if the hole is out of way or some weird thing happening with it. And because I'm using a drill press, I can use one hand to pull the mechanism to make it go down, and then with the other one I can pin the piece down on the working surface.
All right, so you just hold them with your fingers.
Yeah.
Because the drill is in one position, so that is still safe. Yes.
Yes, yes. And I've stuck some tape over my the working surface, so it only makes one hole, and I can see where that hole is. So when I bring my new piece in, I can sort of imagine, okay, the hole was here, put it in this place, so it's in the right place, and then whoop.
Okay, so you don't have to mark every little stitch marker where you want the hole. You can. That's a very clever idea of marking it that way. Great.
When I began making them, I used to take a toothpick and just make a little indentation of where I wanted the hole. But then October happened, which is my birthday month, and hubby bought me the workstation, and it changed my life.
Fantastic. Good tools is always a very nice investment. Makes work so much easier and more enjoyable.
Mm.
I see that Hannah said she's crocheting granny squares, and Claudia said she's getting in some rows of a crochet illuminate sweater. She took the illuminate sweater pattern from Andrea Mowry and crochets it. It's beautiful. She's got a podcast, so you're more than welcome to go check that out. It's really beautiful, the sweaters that she crochets from knitting charts. And then Tanya said she's making blankets, mats, and baskets. My goodness, you're very busy.
A fellow multitasker.
Yeah, I see that. I see that.
Okay. So if there's nothing in the chat, we are almost to our 1 hour mark. We try not to go too much over the 1 hour mark. I just want to check something. I see there's some delay here on my side, but I'm sure we got all the questions and the comments. So yeah, Gertruida, is there something else you would like to mention or tell people or something like that while we still have a few minutes?
Nothing that I can think of, really. I am wearing a sweater of my own design. This is the Fleeta crop top. And yeah, that is nice.
It's available on Ravelry, isn't it?
It's on Ravelry as well as my own site, yeah.
Okay, great thing. I think we did link Gertruida's things down below. And for those of you that doesn't know, Gertruida actually also has a YouTube channel where she shows how she makes some of these markers. I love checking that out because as a baker that taught myself, I know how much things goes into processes and things like that. So it's always so nice for me to watch how she makes it and gets a little bit of more value if I look at the marker and I think, oh, that is how it was made. You know, you just buy a thing and you think it was just slapped together, and actually if you see the process, it takes a lot of time, care and love. So I love watching that. So you're welcome to check that out as well.
Thank you, Mariette. Fun fact, a lot of the floral techniques uses the exact same way of doing it as what the fondant artists do.
Yes, especially your mixing of colors. That was very interesting, of how you decide how much to add of what, and they know how much is the ratios to make a bigger batch. I really love that.
Very smart.
I love watching your videos. It actually calms me down. So cool and calm. I love it.
Thank you.
We've got a question for Gertruida here from Edith. And Edith is asking, where is your scrappy friendship girl, Gertruida?
I have too many projects, Edith. We don't talk about this.
Oh, don't put Gertruida on the spot,
That's
Edith.
how many projects I have.
Oh, goodness gracious. Yeah. I actually saw the post of Edith of the pink colors that she made this morning on Instagram, the pink yarns and things. I'm sure that is what she's using for the project you just mentioned, the boxy sweater. So yes, I think that's going to be beautiful because it's beautiful, beautiful pinks. And I saw some cream and things in there. So what pattern are you making, Edith, by the way? Oh, Edith says sorry.
I do love you, Edith.
Oh, goody. Because when I saw Edith's colors and the yarns, I was thinking about that new sweater of Howie Locatelli. What is it called? Lace and
Also boxy.
it's boxy because I think it uses mohair or something as well. Lace and fade or lace and I don't know. It's a boxy sweater. I just saw it on the last episode.
Yes.
It's quite oversized, but it looks beautiful on her. Very, very beautiful.
Okay.
Right.
There's nothing else on my side here, Mariette. Also on YouTube, I don't see any comments.
Okay. Now then,
Yeah.
then we have reached the end of this. Edith just popped up to say she is knitting the sweater from Howie Locatelli. And she says, yes, that one. So yes, it's that one, the last one.
Okay.
Great.
So from my side, thank you. I've added one more block while we were sitting here. And Gertruida, thank you so much for joining us. We really, really appreciate you and your time and all the effort you put into these beautiful creations of yours. We really appreciate it, and take all the time you need to do what you need to do. We are all keeping you in our hearts and we love you. And yeah, that's it. And thanks to all the viewers that was watching and commenting. Thanks for your time as well. We really appreciate all of you.
Yes, thank you very much, Gertruida. We really appreciate your time, as Leanie said, and we enjoy our stitch markers, progress keepers, cutters, all of the stuff.
The whole community.
So thank you so much for everything and for joining us. And thank you to everybody that came and joined us in this. You see there, and she's still got bags there as well. Anyway, so thank you guys so much. We really enjoyed it. And we shall see you next month.
Bye-bye.
Thank you, everybody. Bye.
Bye, everybody.
I just want to... En ons is klaar.
Woo!
Right. Dankie.
Stuff.
Baie dankie vir die geleentheid, julle tweeetjies. Dit was super baie pret.
Ja, nee, baie dankie vir jou.
Dankie vir jou. Waardeer dit.
Ek wil jou nou nie op die spot sit om vir ons te wys waarmee jy besig met jou cross stitch nie. Net te wou jy nie wys nie.
Ek
Kan jy ons nou wys?
Ja. So, hier is die kleine stekkies wat nou begin inkom.